Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Ellen.
Hi. Is that Ab?
What?
Is that Abby?
Yeah. Yep, it is. Oh, well, yeah. This
Oh, there you go.
there.
That's better.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I should make this. Now I guess this is. I should put some books or something here. I get some books. Thanks for being so prompt or early. I guess you're going to have some family on, from what I understand. There.
Muted. My daughter and a son are coming on. One of my sons is working.
Yeah, that's great. Wow.
And one of my friends is going to come on also.
Oh, great. That's great. Let's see if I'm going to try the share screen. Let's see if this works. Let's see. Okay. Oh boy. Oh no. Can you see what do you see? I'm trying to do it. Okay, do you see anything?
I see a picture of me and a picture of you and a couple of names up at the top.
Hi. Okay, let me try it. Why didn't that work? Okay, I'm gonna try it again. Share screen. Oh yeah, I have to hit desktop. Why is it not saying desktop? Oh no.
There's another picture.
I don't know why it's not saying desktop. Dropbox, basic.
Where are you? Sorry.
Oh no, now we have a problem. Because I'm trying to get my, why is it not saying desktop? It's not saying desktop anywhere. Oh, Google Drive?
How
That's
about
not,
down at the bottom of your screen? Anything there? If you put your cursor down there?
well, I've tried this many times. I've got share screen,
Yeah, I see
one
that.
person at a time, but then it's not giving me desktop. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, geez. This is a problem.
I've never seen desktop before. I don't know what you're talking about. I just have share screen, multiple participants can share. And then you already have your desktop up. You
Well, I
have
let me put up.
you have a screen that you're going to share up. And then what you do is you minimize Zoom. And you know how to minimize, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, just a minute.
As soon as you minimize Zoom, your screen should come up.
Okay, can you see anything? Okay, I'll minimize.
No, not yet.
I see.
You need, did you go into share screen?
Yes,
And
I did, but before, when I did it before, when I was practicing the Zoom myself, it would say desktop. And I'd click on desktop, and that's not giving me that option now.
yeah, okay, well,
so I can't believe it.
I see 4 or 6 pictures on the top of the screen.
yeah, there's a share screen. If you know how to help her, tell her.
I don't, yeah, where, okay, let me get.
Abby,
Yeah.
after you hit share screen, you minimize, you go up to view. Oh, wait a minute. Exit full screen. Maybe that works.
Well, I
I
minimized.
think that.
Zoom now nothing's showing.
And when you minimize Zoom, is your screen that you already had up, can you see it?
My screen is up here, but, and I did share screen, and now I don't see anything. I just see a picture of you, because I minimized everything like you told me, and I went away. When I click on Zoom, back to meeting. Well, okay, I'm back to the meeting.
But you have to see your screen.
Okay, let's try
and you
this.
have to click
Okay.
on your screen.
Does it work now?
Bravo, you did it. You did it.
Yay. Okay.
And you're not the only person who has trouble with that. I go to meetings all the time where people have trouble with that.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Okay, it's a really nice painting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that to get started, you should ask everybody to minimize, to mute ourselves now.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm going to start right on time. So thanks for being here so prompt, because we got a lot of artists. It's fantastic. We got a tremendous response. So this is great. I see, so many people coming on time. Yeah. Okay, you can all hear me, right? Okay, great.
Yes.
I'm gonna get started because, so I'm just so happy that everybody's on the call, and we have a really great art show with work from 20 Adachelome artists. We've gotten a tremendous response. So the plan is that each artist will present his or her work, and I did email all the artists a few hours ago, the order of presentation. Basically, it's all alphabetical, except even though I'm the last one. And after that, after the presentation, Malka has generously put together some information about finding local shows to submit your works to. And we have a very short time to do everything. So I'm asking that every artist with 2 works to limit to 3 minutes their presentation, and artists with just 1 work to 2 minutes, and I'll be the timekeeper as well. And I'm sorry if I'm rude and I interrupt you. I apologize now for that. I'm not going to be looking at the chat, so let's not use that. And let's start. Okay, if there's time, then we could have some questions afterwards. But let's just run through it first. And the first person is Judy Ackerman. So Judy, if you could, can you unmute yourself? Great. Okay.
Yes.
So do you want me to show the 2, or you want to talk one at a time? Should I show the 2 first, or?
I guess I'll talk one at a time because
Okay.
it's kind of different with that.
Okay.
Well, this is kind of fun. Photography for me is kind of an avocation. I've been much more involved since I retired. It's a lot of learning. I enjoy the technology with it. And I also like the fact that I can use it to support some groups that I work with. I do photography for Oasis and also for Community Reach of Montgomery County. So it's nice to be able to use it as a way to give back too. For the last couple of years with the pandemic, the creative muse was a little challenging to find. I was a caregiver for my mother, and I found that it was really hard to focus on taking pictures much at that time. I took a few of her, And I'm pleased that I was able to capture some essence of her towards the end, even when she usually was not the person all of us knew for so long. So that was a side of photography I also had. This picture and the other one, we finally, got to go away for a little bit. We went to Chincoteague and Blackwater Wildlife Refuge, and it was really nice to be seeing different sites. We know every tree and bush in our neighborhood and in many of the local parks and the towpath. And so it was nice to have my eyes greeting other sites. And this particular image is foam along the beach. And I don't know how many of you have studied foam before. It always looked kind of like white bubbles on the sand. And yet, as we were walking along, the light was hitting it in just such a spectacular way that we were seeing all these wonderful colors. And so, we walked down the beach a little further and we still had it. So I had to start taking pictures of it because it just was so spectacular. It wasn't a full amount of sun out there. There were some clouds. I think that we probably wouldn't have gotten it if it was full sun. It wasn't fully overhead because, again, it was fall.
Sorry, Judy, you have 40 seconds, sorry.
Okay. So this is my Seafoam Jewels and special. And do you want to move to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, this was out on the water looking at what for wildlife at Chincoteague. And this was an image that, I saw these birds, mostly pelicans on the poles, and started snapping. It's hard taking pictures on a moving boat. You really can't keep it very still. I was able to make adjustments so that the shutter speed was really quick. And so just delighted that I was able to capture this where this one bird was coming in and who knows where he was going to land.
Okay, sorry. So sorry. This is really quick. I'm so really sorry. I'll try to I'll tell people when there's a minute left. Alan, you're next.
Ooh. First of all, can you hear me?
There's an echo.
An echo?
There, that's better.
Okay. First of all, I've had little or no training in painting. When I first started painting many years ago, I would take my supplies out into nature to paint a scene. I was a freshman in dental school with considerable stress, so out into nature I went. After that, I continued painting while being stationed in England in the Air Force for 3 years. Now I like to paint from photographs. I've been fishing in Canada for almost 30 years, and some of my paintings are from those trips, photographs of those trips. I originally started with oil paints, but now I only use acrylic. It's just a hobby, and we have many of our paintings on our walls at home. And my daughter and a personal friend each have one, but I don't really like to part with them. In the picture with the water wheel, the water in the photograph, which is the next photo, I guess you can go to that. The picture in the water in the photograph is much more brown and green, but I chose to make it blue to add more color to the painting. While I'm painting, I'm totally in the moment and I block out all other thoughts. When I'm first starting a painting, I divide the canvas into 3 sections and paint them in base colors. I love looking at my finished product. Most of my work has been landscapes. As they say in Congress, I yield my remaining minutes to the next artist.
Okay, wow.
Thank you for doing this, Abby. This is fun.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so the next person is Jeff. Am I saying it right? Chiat?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I'm Jeff Chiat. I've been an artist for about 35 years and professionally about 20 years. And the first piece that we're looking at is called Sonata. And it's the inspiration was Mozart's iconic Eine kleine Nacht music, which means a little night music. And it was in front of Wolfe Trap stage for quite some time. And then Metro acquired it in partnership with Strathmore. And now it sits in front of the Metro station at the Strathmore Metro. And the tubes are arranged just, if you know the music, I can play the music for you. Da, 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 da. And those are the notes. And quarter and half notes are represented by different size tubes. And it was really just a lot of fun to put it in and to see it there. And I've had some Adat Shalomers email me because they see the sign. But otherwise, it's just, I think the piece harmonizes with the natural landscape of both the theater and the metro station. You want to go to the next one? I'm also, Dr. Book, I'm also a dentist too. I got my start. I got my working space was 5 millimeters. Now it's 15 feet and larger.
Huh. Okay, the next one. Should I move to the next one?
Yep. This one is called Synergy, and this is a local piece. It's 15 feet tall and about 9,000 pounds, and it's right on Arlington Road. If you're familiar with Bethesda, right across the street from Bethesda Elementary, the playing fields. And it was placed in front of the Maison condominium. And I'm very much into math. I have a passion for the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. And this is my geometric Mobius strip. It was a lot of fun. It was a 4-year project. I had to go in front of all these committees to testify. We cut off 3 lanes of Arlington Road. And if you ever driven on Arlington Road, it was a big mess. Well, we had the cranes in there, and I had about 15 people for the installation that were working with me for the installation. And hopefully people can stop by and see it, or if they're driving, they'll notice on their way home or wherever they're going. And Abby, thanks again for putting this all together. I think it's great to see people's artwork and what they're doing.
Oh, my pleasure. This is great. Okay, the next person is Mara Clausen. Is Mara on?
Am I on?
Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Abby, can you scroll down so people can see the
Oh,
whole?
yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, there.
Okay. Our friend Mark gave me this poem and commissioned me to make 3 oil pastels. I'm showing you 2 of them. This one.
Next slide.
Yeah, yes, next.
Next slide. This one is called Freshly Water Taste. It's about the aqueducts. Next slide.
Okay.
This pastel, there's no place like the heart home, was in a show that was juried by Dr. Harry Cooper. He is senior curator and head modern art at the National Gallery. Here's what he said about at the reception of on Zoom. Play.
Yeah, so this painting, we're up close to a pretty small painting here, I think. And it doesn't have a sort of art school feel to it. It feels more like this is just, what the painter has developed and wanted to do. So there's a muddiness to it, which really works, I think, the way the colors, sort of creates this overall texture, and then the fire in the middle is the contrast. There's coolness, it's very cool and muddy on the outside and very hot on the inside.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, we have 39 seconds. So, okay, I think what we'll do is we'll hold questions. If you do have questions, keep them in mind, and because we may have time at the end to answer them. We're doing good with the time. Thank you so much, Mara. That was great.
My pleasure.
Okay, the next person is Camilla Day. Camilla, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Great. For some reason, okay, great. There you are.
Well, this picture didn't quite something. Anyway, it wasn't quite as foggy as this in real life, but I'm not sure what happened with the photo.
Yeah, it happens sometimes with photographs and what it shows in the computer. I've found that. So.
Okay. This, so I started painting watercolors when I was probably around 20. I was a university student, and I think I just did it as a outlet. And I kind of did it off and on the rest of my life. And then when I decided to retire, I got more serious about it. And I found that I'm from California. And I found when I went to California, I often felt more excitement and had better results of my paintings. So this one was done near Big Sur. I love Santa Cruz, and I went to it's an easy drive down to Big Sur. And so there's a lot of beautiful ocean scenes. And then the next one, this is another water, but this is an Eastern one. And this one was inspired by a trip out to Cape Cod or Provincetown with a friend of mine. It isn't actually a representation of anything that actually exists, but it has a lot of the feeling of that area. And so these are just two examples of the work I've been doing and really enjoying doing watercolors.
Yeah, beautiful, great. Okay, well, boy, okay, well, we're doing good on time, so we'll have questions. I think we'll have time for questions at the end. Okay, Sue Dorfman.
Hi, so some of you may know that I've spent last year, the 2020 election cycle, going around the country about 24,000 miles, documenting the 2020 election cycle. This particular photo was taken on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In the passenger seat of the car, you can see John Lewis. This was his last trip when he was alive, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge during the annual bridge crossing that takes place on the anniversary of the first bridge crossing. And so I've been photographing on and off since I was a teenager, and my current passion is photographing what our commitment to democracy looks like in its many guises. I yield the rest of my time, and thank you for doing this.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Okay, the next is Cy Dubois.
Okay, this is Sunset in Vermont, and this using soft pastels, and I like to use a lot of color, and I've been doing pastels for several years, a lot at the Yellow Barn in Glen Echo. So this is last I just did, and then the next one, if you go to the next one, yeah, the next one is in Rock Creek Park and is a fall scene, and again, I tried to use the reflections in the water and in the creek. So I enjoy using soft pastel because they're very vibrant colors, and I yield back my time.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next is Dan Furman.
Hi, this painting is done on Cape Cod also. It's at the Nobska Lighthouse in Woods Hole. I've done a couple of acrylic paintings there. Excuse me. We spend our summers now on Cape Cod, so that's becoming a favorite place for me to paint. The scene was taken late at night as the moon was coming down, and it was very dark. I used Photoshop in order to see some of what was in the dark in order to do this painting. And it's about 20 by 20 inches. And I was pleased with the way the light came through on this. You can go to the next one, Abby.
Okay.
This one also on Cape Cod. It's from a beach at a friend's house on Lake Coonamessett. Also in acrylic. And it captured the softness of the clouds that were there that night. I've done other sunsets in Cape Cod where the light is extremely brilliant in the sky. But this one appeals to me for its softness. And I've been painting, I'm in my mid 70s now, and I've been painting since my mid 40s when I was recuperating. I started when I was recuperating from a breast cancer event. But I didn't really start painting until that time when I also retired. And it was before my son arrived, which we were late starters. So I've been painting sporadically since my 40s, between dealing with health issues and raising a son who's now married. And I thank you, Abby, for doing this. This is great to see everybody who wanted to participate in this. It's just amazing the talent that exists at Adat Shalom.
Yeah, agreed with that. A lot of
So
beautiful
you can
work.
go.
A lot of
You
beautiful work. Yeah. Okay, thanks. And the next person is Kay Halpern.
Okay. So this was originally a poster, and unfortunately when I, Gmail compresses the photo, so the colors and the vibrancy, in real life, it's much more vibrant. But I did this poster for the first Women's March in January 2017. And I just wanted to put out a very positive message. And actually, I got a professionally photographed and framed reproduction of this poster that is actually going up in Wafaya's salon for people with curly hair tomorrow.
Wow,
Nice.
that's cool.
And we can go to the next picture. So this is a drawing that I did this first just in pen and ink. It's on note paper. I did this many years ago in 1979 when I was in Moscow, and I was like 18, 19 years old. And this was my Russian boyfriend, who was a Jewish refusenik. and which meant that he and his family, they wanted to emigrate to the States, and they weren't allowed to leave the Soviet, what was then the Soviet Union at that time. And he was also an artist. And so I just drew him sitting in a chair, and I kind of created what you see him drawing there. And a number of years later, I added color to this because I wanted to show the kind of the aura, the energy around him and around his head. And again, the compression of Gmail kind of doesn't allow the full vibrancy of the colors in the original drawing to come through.
Are you in touch with him?
No, unfortunately, because back then, when my semester in Moscow was over, the refusnik families that I had met there were afraid to correspond with, people with anyone who was a foreigner and who had, was outside the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Kay. These are really, I just think it's great, all the variety of work that we see. It's just wonderful. The next person is Patty Iglarsh. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, Iglarsh is right. Iglarsh is great. Yeah. Nice to see everybody. I'm a relatively new member of Adat Shalom, just the last couple of years, but it's been the years, the golden years, of course, the pandemic years, hardly golden, but it hasn't given me a chance to meet a lot of people. So I'm very happy, Abby, that you did this. It's really lovely. I'm a collagist, and I've done a lot of other kind of work. I've done quilting. I started as a quilter, and there's still a lot of quilting inside of me, and it comes out in collage, actually, a lot of it. This is, it's at the museum, and if you look at it, it's all cut out pieces, mostly my husband, who I was following as he was walking through several different galleries, and here and in Europe. And I had a bunch of pictures, and I thought, this could be really interesting to do. So where you see him in black, and he's got a bald head and a beard, and he's got a strap over his shoulder. That's he. And farther into the picture, you see him. Those are all cut out, and he's often way in the distance as well. And the artwork was mine. I drew it, and the silver statues to the left, to the right of him on the left, but there are two of them together. The man on the right was one of these guys who paints himself all over the place, and stands on a street corner with a hat in hand, trying to earn some money. And the woman was a statue in the museum. So collages gives me a lot of freedom to take stuff that I like, stuff that of my own, stuff that I've painted, stuff that I've taken photographs of, and put it all together. And this is a collage, very obviously, of piano hammers. If you can see that, it's three-dimensional. It's hard to tell, but I've included it because it just, I always find it very whimsical and fun. And I thought it sort of says in part who I am. I'm a musician also. And so these are notes, actually. They're piano hammers that I've made into notes that are actually on a score of some music. I don't know what the music is, but they are really sitting on a staff, on a treble clef. As somebody walked in a room I was in, a collage class, with a bunch of piano hammers in a box. Mm-hmm. And I thought that would be fun to use in something. So that's what I did. So those are two examples of things that I've done.
Great. Thank you, Patty. Okay, next person is Eileen Jenkins. Eileen, are you there? Huh. Is Eileen not here? Huh. Okay, well, I guess we'll move on then to David Cuffer.
Hello. Yeah, I'm a beginner when it comes to being an artist. I took an art class in first grade, I think, and then I waited about 60 years before my next one. But off and on over the last 2 or 3 years, I've taken art classes. I live in Northern Virginia, and I've taken art classes at a place called the Arlington Art Center, where I haven't really learned anything technical very much, but I've gotten encouragement, which is probably just as important. I have a sister who's 2 years older than me, who's a very talented artist, and she has multiple sclerosis, and her mobility decreased, so she could no longer stand up enough to paint on canvases. So she started doing greeting cards, and I would go to visit her and really enjoy just sitting around a table and making greeting cards with her, which was small scale. Then I realized, well, she can't paint anymore. I can. Well, why not? So I started taking art classes, and I do some representational, some non-representational stuff. This first one with the shalom and a bunch of doves in the background, I did, I guess this is a more representational side. And I've done a couple of versions of this. This one I did, I redid when I moved into a new house, and I wanted to put this one next to one of my sisters with the same colors. You can go to the next one.
Okay.
Well, one thing I'll say about that, the Shalom one, is that I guess I've realized when I decide what I want to paint, that deciding what to paint is like a way to figure out who you are or what means a lot to you. Because, you know, Judaism means a lot to me, and Hebrew letters or, you know, religious themes have kind of shown up a lot in the painting I've done. So I feel like I've figured out some things about myself. And I also want to mention that the last time I saw Cy Dubao, as far as I know, was in the lobby of a hotel in San Francisco. Remember that? Wearing a Nats cap. This second one, how much more time do I have?
Cubs hat.
What's that?
It was the Cubs.
Oh, it was a Cubs hat. Okay, sorry. How much more time do I have, Abby?
About 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
This thing is I don't know what to call this. This is more typical. My son said, "Isn't this kind of like the spin art? You know, what I used to do when I was like 5 years old, and you know, twirled something around." I said, "Yeah, pretty much." So I like certain colors. I guess I figured out I have a palette, which is I like teals and turquoise, which is the background here, and then I just like to, you know, this idea of energy kind of coming from the middle. And I've really enjoyed figuring out like the color wheel and how to make use of it. So I have a lot of orange and blue and green and red as opposites. Thanks for doing this, Abby.
Great, thank you. Okay, Malka is next. Malka, I know you were there.
Hi, Abby. Thanks,
Hi.
thanks for doing this. It's wonderful that you've got so many people. We should see each other more often. Anyway, so as some of you know, I'm interested in dance, where I've exhibited the dance at Dutch Alum, but I've always been interested in dance and music. So I was painting watercolor and oil. I was painting rhythms and movements. So it occurred to me that I could take the canvas that I was using for oil painting and cut it up and sew it back together in rhythms. And the next thing I did was take it off the stretcher, because the first one I stretched, but then I took it off the stretcher, and then that enabled me to use more form and movement. So I use a Singer sewing machine, an industrial sewing machine that my father gave me. He bought it in New York when he was an immigrant many decades ago. And so right now, instead of using canvas, I ask for material from my friends and family. And so it's mostly jeans and other materials. So those are black jeans and blue jeans. And then there's some other material. In fact, the yellow there, I didn't remember who gave it to me, but my cousin said, oh, that was my skirt. Well, this is called peeking blue. If you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's a little blue peeking out of some yellow there. And that strip used to, I felt that that was a completed work. But then 2 years later, I thought, you know what, I'm going to take that and change it some more. So my work actually, it evolves and changes as time goes on. The next piece. So this is one of my recent pieces. I just completed that a couple weeks ago. So I pleat the fabric to give it form. Sometimes I put another layer underneath, and when I cut the pleat, some of it shows through. I lay it out on the floor. I work a lot on the floor, and then I just decide what lays next to the other piece. And it's completed when I hang it on the wall, and then I make my final decisions.
I do have a detail here.
But I'm influenced by movement and color and shape. So I do want to say my website's malkakutnik.com, and I have 2 shows coming up this year, one in the McLean Textile Gallery in Virginia in August. And then I'm going to show my watercolors at the Brookside Garden in December and January. So I hope it's safe to come, and you're all invited.
Wow, great. Thank you, Malka.
Thank you.
Okay, Barbara Richmond.
Hi. I've been doing beaded jewelry for more than 30 years, and this has grown out of my love for doing artwork and crafting since I was in elementary school. In 6th grade, one of my lino cuts won an American Red Cross Award and was exhibited across the United States. I started making jewelry for myself and for gifts, and then I expanded to selling when Eileen Jenkins of Adat Shalom, who used to make pottery, asked me to sell my jewelry at a home show. And then I expanded and started doing other art shows, including ones at work, in our neighborhood, and at Adat Shalom. I took a leap about 8 years ago and applied to be in the juried Glen Echo Labor Day show and sale. I was delighted to be accepted, and I've repeatedly sold lots of pieces there. I like working with all kinds of beads, including wooden beads like the purple and turquoise necklace you can see here. Wood beads are very lightweight, and they're very colorful, and I like putting all kinds of interesting colors together. And Abby, if you'll show the next one. I also work with natural stones like this salmon and gray necklace and earring set. I like seeing the natural variability of the rocks and the stones. I also work in glass, including Chinese glass, hand-blown glass, and dichroic glass, and even recycled sawdust, which is what this necklace is. My designs are quite varied. Some pieces are very funky and chunky. Some are elegant and simple. Some are understated, and some are very, very sparkly. I'm moved by the shape of the beads, the colors, and frankly, my mood. Sometimes a necklace comes together very quickly, and sometimes I have to play with the design over and over again until I like what I see. When I design necklaces for people, I'm very cognizant of the palettes they typically wear, and if they like chunky or funky or a little more subtle, and that's always a fun thing for me. I'm very, very excited to see all of the art here today and to learn people I've known for a long time doing really interesting art. I just want to say that I'm now a fellow with the Jewish Studio Project, which mixes text study, Jewish and not Jewish, with art making. And I'll put my email in the chat. Please reach out to me if you'd like to know more about that. And again, thank you, Abby, for putting this together, and yay for all of you.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, wait a second. The next person is Audrey Rothstein. Audrey? I know she was there. I saw Audrey. Audrey.
Sorry about that. Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Abby, for doing this. This is wonderful to see everyone's work. So I am a photographer. When I started college, I told my parents that I'd really prefer to just drop out of college and be a photographer, and they weren't too keen on that. So I spent my career in association and nonprofit management. But several years ago, I had a chance to break away and to do what I've always enjoyed, which is photography. And I have been doing events and other sorts of occasions, bar mitzvahs and whatnot all around the community, and do a lot of nonprofit volunteer work, especially for children's grief camps. But this year and last year, given COVID, I really tried to harness my energy in that area in a very different direction and went towards macro photography or close-up photography. And I call this one Getting Into the Weeds. It's a dandelion, and it's just really opened up a new world to me. I can't remember who said it, but when I'm taking photos, I'm totally stopped and completely focused on what's in front of me. And I'm finding all kinds of beauty in what I see. And this is one example of that. You can go to the next. Just generally returning to nature is something I've really enjoyed. I call this one Great Blue. And I shared a sunrise with this guy on a beach in Fort DeSoto in Florida. I had gotten up very early to watch the sunrise and then had plenty of time to take in the area before anyone else was around. And this fellow was just enjoying himself. And I enjoyed him, and I felt like we connected. It was a really very special time. And I enjoyed it very much. So thanks again, Abby, and wonderful to see everyone's work.
Great, thank you. Wow. Okay, Jeff, are you on?
I am on, thanks.
Great.
And Audrey, those are really lovely photos.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Last year, I put together a collection of my favorite photos and the poems they inspire, and self-published them with the assistance of staff at Politics and Prose. The book is called Visions in Photos and Poems. Surprise. Can you, Abby, move to the table?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and then on to the table of contents. There are 33 pairs of photos and poems. The photos were taken during visits to national parks and wildlife refuges, when hiking on trails, bird watching, or simply random outdoor moments. They show an affinity for birds, trees, flowers, skies, and mountains. If you were holding the open book, you'd see that typically a poem appears on the page to the left, and the corresponding photo is on the page to the right. So here you see the poem atop Sonata, and then the next page in this presentation, you see birds. And also there's a footnote that provides more context or information about the photo and poem. Let's go on to the next one. Here there's a poem about the blind in Cape May, which is actually, you'll see in the photo that follows, a place where people can look at the birds without themselves being seen. And that sort of structure is previously and more commonly used by hunters to hide from their prey. And I kind of incorporate those aspects of it in the poem. When the poem is brief, I'm sorry, when the photo is small, well, and the poem is brief, then they can be combined on the same page. And here's an example with that, again, with a footnote that describes the scene or what motivated me to take the picture when I did. The next page shows a similar kind of arrangement. I'm going to end by showing you another photo. This was, and I'm going to recite you the poem. It's entitled "In the Beginning." Is this how it looked in the beginning? Behold the light hovering above the earth and all that is upon it. What is this vision? A moment in time, or past, present, and future all at once? What does it mean? Fiery at the base, yet soft along the edges and serenely blue in the heights. Is it all coming together, or is it pulling apart? And where do we fit in? Are we part of this majestic vision? Is this the nexus where the creator and the created meet? The photo was taken at the Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge. If anyone is interested, I'd be happy to email you an electronic version of the book. Hard copies are available in person or online at Politics and Prose. I'll send you a link to it if you like. And thanks to Abby and everyone else for sharing your works with us.
Wow. Well, what an accomplishment. Congratulations on your book. That's beautiful, on a beautiful book. Okay, Greg Schofer is next.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks again for posting this. It's been very interesting. I've enjoyed it. I thought I'd see more pottery, but I know there's another potter following me. Mr. Mark is coming up soon. I do pottery at Viz Arts in Rockville, and there's some other Adachaloomers there like Mark. I know Haya Richmond is taking classes there now, and Judy Ackerman just started as well, taking some classes there. And I know that Mara has some connections as well to Viz Arts. Anyway, so I've been doing functional pottery for about 8 or 10 years now, on and off. And during the pandemic, bought a wheel and set up a little shop in the basement. And I've been interested in creating these pieces that have holes and wire and mixed media, but it wasn't until probably September-ish, this past September, that I realized that I could make a functional vase if I put the holes in the foot, which it's hard to see in this photo, but you can actually put flowers in there and fill it with water and they will not leak out the holes at the bottom. And so I've been experimenting with various styles and shapes, and I think for a long time I was struggling sort of to find a voice, and I feel like this has some legs and has some potential to be something that I can create. If you go to the next one, there's a second version of something similar to this. Oh, that's the inside. Sorry.
Oh,
the other photo of the outside actually is a little, I love these inside. This is a beautiful inside.
I'm sorry, this is the one you wanted me to put on. I apologize.
I wasn't sure how many pictures you were going to use, but I sent a picture of the outside of this one as well, which has wire. This is a little thicker wire, and it goes at about a 45-degree angle around the outside of the piece. But the inside dripped really nicely, and I love the inside as well. But and you can see it's functional in this piece. It's hard to tell the size and the shape, but you can see that there's no holes at the bottom, and the glaze here just ran really nicely. Mm-hmm. I do mugs and I do plates and bowls and all sorts of different things, but I feel like this sort of combination with the wire is something that I'll continue to explore different versions of. I have a piece of the studio now that has where the wire was going to go vertically around the sides versus up and down with these past few pieces I've done. And yeah, and I'm on Instagram. I posted, so if you're on Instagram, you can see my work there.
Great. Wow. Thank you so much. So I apologize. I Thought
No,
this
it's fine. It's fine.
when you wanted me to put on. Okay. Sarah Sennett is next. Sarah, you there? I know you were.
Hello. I was going to begin with thinking about another one. I'm not sure what you've.
Oh,
what
do you
you're
want
gonna
this
be
one?
Showing. Well, okay, I can begin here. That's fine. What I was involved in doing, I've been painting for a while, mostly watercolors, but over the last couple of years, I've been involved with acrylics. And what I'm trying to do with my work is just show both rhythms and giving color to things that are not colored. Like this was an idea that I had about grasses, and it was in a way what goes between the grasses. Grasses are very tan, and they were moving and swaying, and so I just wanted to capture something that showed both the rhythm and making them more beautiful than just a monotone. So and then I got involved in a mood here with different darknesses and lightnesses and whatnot. But it was sort of the basis for a lot of other work that I've been doing, which has to do with looking in magazines of photography of rock cliffs, especially of Arizona. For some reason, I had many issues of Arizona highways. I don't even know if it's published now, but the photography was gorgeous, but especially the ones that just showed gray rocks. And what I was trying to do in those cases, I don't know if you had another slide, Abby, to show.
Yeah, this one.
A bright colored one. No, not that one, but another one.
Sorry, I only put in two.
Oh, on those two. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
anyway, it had a lot of rhythms. And so it was an interpretation of what the rock faces would do if they were speaking to each other in a way. All of this, what you would see in the end was something that was completely different and than what the picture showed, which is what I want to do. I want to twist reality in a way. But I was just thinking back to how did I get involved in showing rhythms? And that was, I remembered when I was painting watercolors, going out to a farm that had cows, stranded like rolling hills with some cows and some pictures. And all of a sudden I looked at the hills, they weren't like groomed, grassed hills, just hills. And there was rhythm there. There were almost like rake lines that appeared in my head, not for real. And I thought, the earth has these symbols. They're telling me, they're speaking to me. And from that moment on, the idea of looking at anything, trees, brushes that move one way or the other, I keep looking at the rhythms and figure out how I could make those real. And I just remembered that first experience, and that was kind of interesting. This, of course, has nothing to do with that exactly. This had to do with trees, poplar trees, and the spaces between poplar trees and a water bank, let's say. So again, it was just interpreting what I'm seeing in a different way. But I do love painting from nature. Anyway.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abby, for doing this. I know you're experienced at organizing these kinds of things.
I don't know. The only experience I have is working with you.
Yeah, right.
With the art show a couple of years ago.
Right.
I couldn't have done that without you. I was following your lead. So.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Mark Wolfe is next.
Thanks, Abby. So I'm going to show Greg and I both work at Viz Arts, and I think it's really a wonderful place if you get a chance to go. So I'm going to show two examples of Raku Pottery. And if you haven't been involved with that, if you have an opportunity to see it, I recommend it. I'll just briefly tell you a little bit about the type of Raku that we did at Viz Arts. One fires the clay up to 1650 degrees to get what's called bisqueware. And then typically, and using stoneware clay, and typically one that might glaze it again, and as Greg did, and put it back in a regular kiln. But with Raku, you heat it up, and well, and then the kiln cools down, and then you take it out. With Raku, you glaze the pot, or this one is glazed anyway. I'll show you a different method as well. You heat it up to around 1500 degrees, and you take it out of the kiln carefully, stick it in a big metal garbage can filled with wood chips or newspaper, etc., and cover it up. And this draws the carbon out of the newspaper, and so and then you take it out and you dip it in water or let it cool. There are a variety of methods. So this is using a crackle glaze. So the glaze shrinks, and the carbon from the newspaper is what creates the lines between where the pot where the glaze on the pot shrunk. The next one is also Raku, but this is not, I should say the first one's about 9 inches. This is about 10 inches tall. This also was bisqued and put in a Raku kiln and taken out when it was about 1500, 1600 degrees. But but it wasn't glazed at all. And rather, and this is referred to as horsehair, because one literally takes horsehair and very carefully, because it's very hot, places it on the pot, and it immediately burns up and it leaves these carbon tracks. And also you can see the spots on here. That's actually sugar that was just thrown on the pot and did the same sort of thing. And people put on feathers and a variety of other things. And
wow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great. Okay, I guess we made incredible time. I'm the last one. And I guess let me put my timer on. I don't think I'll be 3 minutes, but most of you know me from my wire art that I've been doing, and my political art that I put on the listserv. During the pandemic, I've been doing a lot of painting. That's when I started painting. I'm taking a class at Glen Echo, and I discovered we get so many deliveries, and we get our vegetables every week delivered to us. And so we have all these boxes. So I really like to repurpose things. So I've been using these boxes to do a lot of my art. And this is a landscape on the C&O Canal. My husband and I have been spending a lot of time. We have these recumbent trikes and we go on the canal. And this is between Violet's Lock and Pennyfield, if you've been in that part. But I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of three-dimensional, the cliff part, and so that's this one, and it kind of sticks out. And then the next thing is I've gotten very interested. I got fascinated by barracudas and the schools of barracudas and the shapes that they make. There's a lot of photos online, and so I took this barracuda and shape, and I made this painting out of it. And I'm also making a lot of other small. I have a series of barracudas. Okay, that's it. So we're making really good time here. Next thing is for Malka is going to talk a little bit about how, if you're interested in exhibiting, and being in local shows. Malka has experience in that, so I asked her to talk a little bit about that. So, and she generously created this list of places to go. And if you can't get it from here, I'm happy to email it. In fact, I'll email it to the artist group afterwards. But Melka, you want to talk? And if anybody else has any insights, and then after that, with whatever free time we have, if people have questions or things to say, I'll throw it open. But Melka, why don't you?
Sure. Well, the ones on the top recommendations, those are actually places where I have, they're mostly juried shows. They're all juried shows, and where I've shown with them. And the others I just found on the websites. I just looked up call for artists, or I know that other people have shown there at these other places. And of course, there's more than this, but maybe you'd like to add some of your favorite places. But the Maryland Federation of Arts, they're mostly located in Annapolis, but I did manage to show some paintings that they sponsored in Bethesda a couple years ago, at 2 places in Bethesda. The Strathmore Arts Gallery, I mean, you can just look up, they accept during certain times of the year, they accept entries. Either you can have a whole gallery to yourself, or once a year, everyone can apply to be accepted for a show. And the Goldman Art Gallery at the Rockville JCC is also has wonderful opportunities. Now, the Painter's Keys is a newsletter, and in one of those newsletters, that's where I got the information about the Carter Burden Gallery, where I just showed, and the opening was November 18th. I was lucky enough to go there at that time. And the Carter Burden Gallery is actually open for people who are 60 and older. So, and they're located in Chelsea, New York. And then Call for Entry Cafe, they put out listings for all over the United States. So one time I did, in fact, apply and got into Fayetteville, North Carolina. My son lives in Durham, so I figured I'll just go visit him, and it was an hour and a half from there. But the New York one, I just mailed it. I mean, you can, a lot of the galleries, you can just mail things to them. And so those are some other listings of places where you can go and try to get into shows. And there's a lot of information on there.
Yeah, that's a wealth of information. Thanks so much. Has anybody else had any experiences exhibiting, or have other suggestions? Or
I think that several of us have mentioned the Glen Echo shows and their various opportunities to exhibit work in their shows. And yes, I've also exhibited at Strathmore and at the Goldman Art Gallery. And those are, wonderful shows to get into if you have the opportunity.
I'll put in a plug for the Rockville Art League. It's a very good organization. It has lots of activities during the year, but in particular, it's got 2 juried shows, one in the spring and one in the winter. In fact, one is just coming off now. I've had a lot of work that's been juried into those shows over the last 10 years, let's say, that I've been a member. And they're looking for the kind of work that we displayed here today. All media, sculpture, they really are interested in taking sculpture, which is really nice because a lot of galleries don't do that. And it's a very welcoming organization, lots of nice people, and maybe when the pandemic is over, it'll get to be more possible to meet these folks and be around them. But they do have very good shows, and their shows take place at the Glenview Mansion, which is an extremely nice venue on the 2nd floor of the mansion.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I have one suggestion that if you're going to apply for a juried show, it's really important that you take a really good photo of your artwork, that there are not a lot of shadows, and that it's as close up as it can be and as crisp as it can be. I think that's really a key. There are these really interesting light boxes that are sold on Amazon or whatever. They're a little expensive. I don't have one. I'm thinking about it.
Light box, what do you mean?
So it's a big box that's got fairly neutral background and lights coming at your piece from all sides, so that there aren't shadows. And that's particularly helpful for 3D art, but even for photographs and paintings, a good photograph really makes a difference.
Yeah.
So I have a question, because the problem that I've encountered, even if you get a very high quality photograph, or oftentimes your phone can take, very, very good pictures, but then when you email them, the compression in the email platform, reduces the pixelation and just reduces the resolution of the photograph. So how does one deal with that?
Well, this is Michelle, Mara's mom, and I help her do that. And you really, Photoshop or other applications help you to size your, get the right number of pixels and the size of the work. A lot of times they say 1200 on the longest side, or and you can get very precise in Photoshop. There may be other programs that can do that too, but if it doesn't satisfy their criteria for the submission,
but that's the photograph. But then how does one send it without it getting distorted? Is there a way to send the photograph?
Is it shared? Create a folder in Google Drive and share that.
Okay.
Because there's a limit on size that can go via, Gmail.
Oh, you should.
One of the things that's really, I've learned over time, I'm just a novice at taking, I take good photographs of my work, but how to transmit them, you're talking about, that's the deal. And I'm just gradually learning how to do that. The best thing to do is not to frame your photos, frame your work, and then to take your photographs. Take the photographs of unframed work if you've got two-dimensional work. And because putting on the frame, if you have a glass frame, etc., it will really distort your work. And I'm just now learning slowly how to use Google and all of the information that's on Google to go forward with taking really good pictures that I can submit for a juried show. It just takes time to find the right programs and do it.
Yeah, does anybody have any idea, like, would Google Drive be better, or Dropbox? Or...
Well, we typically don't submit to shows that require an attachment to an email. Usually the platform allows you to upload the file in the call for art. It has, and you create portfolios.
It's another way to do it. Sure.
And submittable.
Yeah.
And we stop photographing the art and we scan it.
That's interesting too. Yeah.
Wow.
If anyone is interested in Etsy, Montgomery Community College has a really good course taught by teacher David Baxter, who is he does glass work. He teaches a class on how to set up an Etsy site, and it's pretty good. I've done a soft launch of a site, but that all happened before stuff happened in our family this fall. So I've actually said I'm on vacation for a while because I can't get back to it. But I do recommend the class very strongly.
Wow. I find it hard just to take a decent picture of my work. I'm at square one. You know, even though I got a new iPhone, they still don't turn out well. So I don't know.
There is actually a woman with her last name is kind of like mine, but it's not the same. Halpern. I think her first name is Diana Halpern.
Deborah
And
Halpern.
Deborah, right. And she's in, what is it? It's not Germantown, but it's on the other side of the pike. Anyway, she works out of her home and does these professional quality photographs of artwork, including all different media, you know, whether it's oils or pastels, or in my case, sort of highlighters. So that's another option for photographing your work.
Wait, I didn't understand that she'll do that.
She does, yes, she does. She takes, you leave the artwork with her. She takes the photographs. And or you can actually, she doesn't need to, and she makes a kind of a professional reproduction. So just as a, for example, what I first tried to do with my poster is I went to office, I took a photograph of it outside in full sunlight, and then sent that photograph to Office Depot. And, you know, it reproduced all the lines, but the coloring and the lighting was off. And there was some reflection and glare from the sun. And so I took the poster to her. Someone at a local frame shop in Kensington recommended her. And she took a photograph of it. And then she has these very fancy, high quality color printers. I mean, they're like, you know, 6 feet wide. And she prints on, you know, acid-free paper. And she can adjust the coloring for you, you know, as you want. And there were some photos that she had printed of paintings. And to me, they looked like 3-dimensional oil paintings, you know, like as if I were to touch them, I could feel, you know, the daubs of paint, but they were just 2-dimensional copies. So she's very good. Of course, you have to pay for that.
She might be scanning if you're getting the textures on the surface of the work. That's.
I think we're going to be cut off any time because this is supposed to run for 70 minutes. We can continue talking if we want, and then it might just cut off, whatever you want to do. You know, does anybody have any else?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Can all these images that people have presented be made available for us to look at later?
What I'd be happy to do is I will email to everybody the link to I put a Google Drive portfolio together, and I'll just send everybody the link, and you should be able to just get on that and see it. And you can even download, I believe, from that. So I'm happy to do that. Okay. Oh, also I have this idea. I haven't talked to anyone about Adat Shalom, but I am fantasizing in the summer when it's warm, if we can be outside and not inside, of doing a pop-up art show. I just think it would be really cool if Adat Shalom was okay with it, where we drive there and we put out art by our car and everyone can walk around and see everybody's art in the reel. What do you think of that idea?
That's a great idea.
Good. It's cute.
I like it.
Okay,
I
well,
like it.
I will I'll see if, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't asked anybody at a Dutch Shalom, but that's what I have in my mind. If, we're still staying outside because of COVID, but it's safe enough to do that. There's, it's not like, Omicron is now. So I'll let you know if that happens.
Good. Even if we don't, even if we can get inside, even if you can go inside, it would be nice to do anyway on a nice day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we should end it. And thank you, everybody. It was really great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Abby.
Thanks again, Abby.
Well, it's
Thanks,
really
Abby.
fun to
Thank
do.
you. And thank you, everybody. This has
Thanks,
been
everybody.
Yeah, really. It was great.
Thanks, Abby. Is there any way you can copy the chat? There were a lot of
Does
interesting.
anybody know how to do that? Because
Yeah, what you can do is put your cursor, open the chat, put your
Yeah.
cursor there, do control A.
Control
I do
A.
that, Control A. Go
Uh-huh.
in, make sure you're in the chat, and then Control C, and then you can copy it into a Word document.
Oh, see.
Or if you go to the bottom, the three dots, if you click on that, you can save chat as well.
Oh, really?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and that'll save all of the chats?
Yeah, that'll save the entire chat, and then you'll see a file when you close Zoom.
Okay, great. Okay, great. I'll do that. Great.
Thanks again.
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
thank
thank
Great
you.
idea. Great idea.
Okay, bye.